It's Monday and Miller's back on The Expanse. I'm so excited.
They greenlit the sequel without a story in mind. They just wanted to equal an unexpected gold mine. He said, oh no, as Heston said, I got to go. These are just some of the facts you ought to know as we go. Beneath the minute of the apes. Beneath the minute of the apes. Beneath the minute of the apes.
The only good human is a dead human.
Hello and welcome to Minute of the Apes, the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. I'm Todd.
I'm Sean.
Yes, they're here. Richard and Sean are here
too.
I was just looking at
months and months, and you have introduced us, and now we're supposed to do it ourselves?
Unacceptable. I wanted to look across and make sure you're here. You were both being so quiet. I thought I'd better
Well, we're
look.
still in Zeus North for the next week.
Zeus North.
North.
Which I do own dibs on this. If you ever franchise Zeus up here, I own dibs on bidding in to become the manager of the store. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. It might not be the pay grade that you want, but
I don't care at this point. All right. So we've got a Monday. Let's start it off as we should every week, thanking Pete and Alex of the Star Wars Minute. Go listen to them. Go listen to everybody from the Movies by Minute. I get to gleefully...
What one podcast have you been on, by the way?
I got to tell the guys that I just recorded with Everlasting Minute, the Movies by Minute family member who does Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. They allowed me to be on 9 episodes total.
Oh, okay.
So 3 weeks. They do 3 a week. One of the co-hosts was unable to be there, so they said, you were already going to be on to talk about Pure Imagination, the song, which is one of my all-time favorite songs.
For that part, all right.
So I was like, sure. And he said, well, would you be willing to do a few more? So I get to be on episodes that should start airing tomorrow, June 11th. We're recording this on June 10th. So if you're hearing this late, go back and listen to the archive. But it was a fun blast to go listen to somebody else run the show.
You weren't in charge.
You get to sit
with
back
the boss
and do nothing?
applesauce.
When we do Minute of the Apes, I'm the one with all the buttons and everything, and I try to at least run the show and keep it going. All I had to do was talk, and it was so much fun. And, here's what I'm going to say. We need a musical Planet of the Apes, because I got to talk my music background.
Well, we know the musical Planet of the Apes.
There's only one musical in The Simpsons, but it was a lot of fun. These people are doing great work out there too. So if you love movies the way we do, and we think you do if you're here listening, go find the Movies by Minute website, and there are probably around. I'm understanding that God, it's an ungodly number. I'm going to say it feels like 100 now.
Something like that. If you go to the website, there's a lot to pick from.
We're approaching a very big number, so you can find things out there anywhere from Gremlins to Willy Wonka. You can find things that you want and listen to them, breaking these movies down minute by minute.
No.
All right, with that out of the way, minute 36. Sean, tell us what's going
Start
on.
minute 36 with Brent staring out of the cage, and ends with Brent and Nova being led away.
Let's listen to this riveting minute of Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Sergeant, wait! This is a type E cranium, very unusual. Weak occipital development, substandard lobe, female. It's been a long time since we've been able to study specimens of such extraordinary clinical interest. Bring them inside.
No. No, you can't have them. They're marked for target practice. Take them away.
Oh, this count is never going to change. As of minute 36, 3 living humans, 4 dead humans, 1 dead ape, a shrewdness of apes, and a gaggle of humans.
So we're back into watching more and more of this.
The training montage.
The training montage is a great way of putting it. It's the Top Gun moment of this film.
Without the volleyball and playing.
Right.
Playing with the boys.
I don't think I've ever
Playing.
knew that you could quote that.
With the
So
boys.
what I immediately thought of is these stunt people surrounding this horse, they're pretty fracking brave.
Yeah, with a horse falling down, and they're going to be that close to
yes.
Kicking legs
I'll
out.
talk about later on, too, but in this particular minute, they're f***ing with the horse.
Yeah.
That horse is going to kick them, and they're in monkey costumes, and they're, like, surrounding the horse. I'd be like, a horse would be like, no f***ing way. I'm getting out of this shit.
That horse goes down, and then there's one ape that is so aggressive. He comes in and starts whipping at the human. He whips 4 other apes before he even hits the human. He goes, whap, whap. He's like, oh, now I got the human.
Well, you know what that probably is, because that whip is not a whip. It's really some kind of silk, I think.
Yeah,
that's what
it's just
they
like
use,
the softest thing ever. It's like horsehair or something.
Silk has a lot of the same, like when you whip it, I read that before, that it actually has a lot of the same
physics
characteristics.
of it, but without without it hitting you.
And so he's actually really
Wait
pissed
for
off.
tonight?
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, from what I understood, when Harrison Ford did a lot of the Indiana Jones, they
It
used
was
a
a
real
real whip, but they kept him away from
Yeah,
people.
and they're going to range the camera shot, so it's cheating and all those kind of things. But in situations like this, they're
they're actually hitting people.
So that guy's really pissed off, going, "I'm going to get fired! Damn it!" And he's trying to hit.
I'm hitting everybody till I hit my target.
They cut back again after this kind of moment. We see Brent and Nova in the back of the wagon. It's a bigger wagon. They've got multiple humans in it, and the humans are still just railing against the cages like animals,
like crazy, like
animals. Go figure.
As if they almost told them, just pull on the cages and do nothing else.
Well, I know, but it's a direction that gives the extras something to do. It makes the scene more frantic and everybody panic in a moment, but it is also almost too much.
Which I've never held back from things that they could have done here, which are other perspectives. And this is another instance where they pulled a person down, they got the horse. It does require you to introduce a point of view that is not a character point of view, but they could have cut to an upward angle of the apes beating.
That
Which
would have
would
been
like,
nice.
like under below, and you see it.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Which all it is at that point, you're just, I forget, I want to say it's Hitchcock that says, "I don't care about camera direction. All I need is a motivation of why I need to see it." And that could have been Brent almost imagining.
But we also did it in the first movie when Taylor gets knocked to the ground of the arena, and we've got the grillers over him, beating him at that moment. That we would have been nice to even just mirror that particular moment.
Yeah. There are just so many little moments like that all they had to do was push in something that think of how much that would have escalated the fear.
Yeah.
Because now we're seeing that you're helpless. An upward angle of someone attacking you is very terrifying.
Yeah.
Just the frantic human in cages was a little much, but we see them going.
I agree with you. It is.
We see them now going back into the city, right? They were, I guess, outside the city, in those pens, and then we get to a facility that. Is it identical? It's a little different.
Yeah, I actually had that in my notes. We're back in the science cells.
We are. So according to the notes that I found, those are the exact same sets.
Okay.
Because is it the same set from before?
Yes.
But
it's the science pen,
cells.
not
Not
the prison cells that Taylor spent most of his time in.
No, they're. So it's not where she did the transfusion. It's where he was pinned.
Yeah.
No, it is where he's pinned.
Where he was hanging out with Nova.
They may have reconfigured, but they are the same sets.
I think they reconfigured because this looks like when Julius is behind an office, locked in. This looks like that's where they're being shooting this from. It looks like his office,
I see
and
that.
we're looking out on the pins as opposed to the previous perspective where we were in with that shot with Taylor's pin over here and over there.
They definitely had them the same things. But anything like that's a wild set, you can redress and put it together however you want.
So this what I liked about this is it solves the problem of not having that scene that I read from the script earlier with Cornelius.
Yeah, they're filling all that information in here
because it's now being repeated with Zira discovering them. Right.
So, but okay, before we get into what Zira talks about,
okay,
we're going to have a moment where she sees Brent Nova in this moment. We're in the situation where this should have happened earlier. That we didn't. This is my whole point of why I introduced last week that we didn't need almost the entirety of this 10 minutes. We didn't need them going to her house. Going to the house makes no sense. If anything,
if he had been discovered here for the first time,
I mean, yes, it should have been, why weren't they captured? Why didn't they try to escape from Ursus's speech, get captured, brought here, then they could even escape again. I don't give a shit. But it's this, we went to her house, we're going through Ape City dressed in ANSA garb, which immediately makes me stand out. It is not believable. I go into a pantry so I can get a Band-Aid and I get an apple. I then go out so my new girlfriend, who isn't really my girlfriend, can have an ookie moment staring at me before I chase again to get captured where I should have been all along.
The only thing that I would counter with that is that if he had been caught in the ANSA outfit, his fate might have been a little bit different.
That's a very good point.
Particularly if Zaius was involved. Maybe not.
However,
Ursus.
I would rather see the film where I figure out how he's not in that ANSA or how she covers up that he's in that ANSA.
Here's what it is. He's stranded at the beginning of the movie. He can't believe, his partner has died. He's already buried him. He's being dehydrated. He sees again, we're re-editing the beginning of the movie again. He sees Nova coming over the hill and it starts to look like a mirage. And that's when he passes out. And then you come back to her taking off his clothes. Like, why are you wearing this stuff? Because we know as the audience that she's already met Taylor before, and Taylor doesn't wear these clothes, and you need to not wear these clothes because the other apes are going to freak out if you see this, and she knows this from her perspective, and she's taking the clothes off him, and that's when he wakes up, and he's like, what's going on? Why are you doing this? And she's like, throwing the real clothes that he should be wearing instead of, hey, you work in my house. Here are new clothes to wear that people wear.
And
not
suddenly
humans.
that evokes the first film where the savages stole the uniforms
clothes from all of them,
astronauts.
yeah.
Maybe they stole them
because they knew humans aren't supposed to wear that stuff.
and she's doing the same thing. And maybe she finds a way to burn them or throw them off a cliff or something. I would much rather see them figure that out than waste my time with 10 minutes of unneeded story. It's not even storytelling. It's just stumbling.
Yeah, I was kind of stumbling through the last 10 minutes.
Because there's no jeopardy. And at this point in a movie, when you've lost the sense of jeopardy, you don't easily get that back.
Yeah.
You don't suddenly
Once it starts getting a little bit funny, you don't get dramatic.
You don't earn the
again.
trust from the audience of, you've got my characters and you're going to tell me they're going to fall off this cliff or you're going to save them. It's not here anymore.
Once your lead starts doing stupid things, you get angry.
And I'm going to be very, very safe here and say that if you've not listened to this before, we do love this film, or these films. This one just has a lot of problems. So if you're listening, what we try to do is we're going to break it apart and say how they could have been better. I don't think anyone out there is going to stand up for Beneath Planet of the Apes as the best of the Planet of the Apes
It's
films.
almost like if Todd was talking about The Last Jedi or something.
It could be that too. I have a lot of reverence for a bunch of things. This one is just not to the standard of the first film. With that out of the way, we can move on.
What is a Type E cranium?
Apparently, Brent.
I was just thinking, I need my Type E plutonium for my modulator.
Well, it would have been nice if she, instead of just saying that, if she'd had a little measuring rod or something, you know, so she could find out what
just like, his lobes are good, and he has a Type E cranium.
Or pull his eyes,
cranium.
Anything that just
Stick
says...
your fingers in her mouth to check his teeth. Say,
Right.
oh, his molars are kind of weak, but I'll take it.
Right.
So they're after the scene of them being brought into the town. It's one of the common shots we see them going into the town and out of the town. Right, they're going back into town or into the experimental facility. They are now kind of being pushed and herded into cages. Brent and Nova are not quite as resisting as much as a lot of the other humans.
Yeah. And
we see a moment of Zira kind of down with some calipers, kind of measuring the shoulder of a human that is strapped on the table.
Which occasionally I wondered if that's all she's measuring.
Hey,
She's between his legs too, and I'm like, what's she doing?
But I mean, it's kind of interesting to think about her as a
Yes, it is.
What did she call herself? A veterinarian?
Which, okay, if she's doing that with this subject over here, and she suddenly now, we all this conjecture aside about that we don't need all these scenes. Now we have to have had the previous scene for this moment to work because we have to understand that she is looking and thinking, I know him. I've got to save him.
Right. Her moment of kind of looking at him.
Oh crap! He's back.
Her moment of looking at Brent was not the flash of discovery in her eyes that I wanted to see. It was I'm working, I'm glancing up, and there wasn't that
Oh,
I've got
no.
to solve the situation. She just kind of floats over to where they
Which
are.
you would have that if, let's say, to your point, she's measuring. If she looked and she did a double
take, yeah.
and then grabbed her measuring things and went out and went, oh, these are love